Okay, so I have here uh, basically is a picture of the heart. And the heart is a very complicated procedure. So what I'm going to do is for uh, all intents and purposes, I'm going to tie several videos together into one to really show the function of the heart because it is a very complicated procedure. And I'm going to start with the intrinsic conduction system and the how the action potential starts in the SA node and goes out through the all the way through the Purkinje fibers and everything. And I'm going to progress into other slides because it's important. It was important for me to bounce back and forth to show for me to understand how everything was working together. So that's how I'm going to relate it. But first, I'm gonna let the video talk, and I'm gonna show what I watched. And I had my aha moment with this. Sitting in lab one day with Jennifer and Annie, and we were talking about. Well, we were studying the sheep's heart, and we were watching this video, and I never understood the intrinsic conduction system until I seen it played this way. So I'm gonna let this play for a second and go from there.
Cardiac autorhythmic cells in the intrinsic conduction system generate action potentials that spread in waves to all the cardiac contractile cells. This action causes a coordinated heart contraction.
I like how it shows it going through and how it actually relates to all the other goes throughout the rest of the heart and makes everything contract. It really helped me to actually get it. Like I said, it was my aha moment. This is another part that I thought was important to tie into it because now that we've seen the conducting system, we can see actually without that how the heart is beating, and just by watching it and listening to it here for a second, we can get a full understanding of the process of the heart for just how it beats and pushes the blood through. Now notice when it beats how the valves are opening up, and
The cardiac cycle includes all movements
how the valves were opening up, and that's to not allow the blood to flow back through. Alright, so this is going to show a complete overview of the heart valves and how they function. And let's watch it for a second. This is what helped me.
in response to
As I
differences in the
said,
blood
I had to
pressure
really
on
tie
their
everything
two
together,
sides.
and this is kind of how I did it. I sat here on the computer and watched everything back and forth.
The mitral or left atrial ventricular valve, and the tricuspid or right atrial ventricular valve. Click the syringe to see dye injected into the.
Now this is showing a little bit of ventricular filling. This shows the inferior and superior vena cava.
During mid to late diastole, when the
shows
heart
how it comes into the left ventricle or the right ventricle,
passively into the atria
right atrium,
through the open AV
right atrium, right
valves,
ventricle. I'm
and
sorry.
continues into the ventricles where the pressure is lower.
So going more into the cardiac cycle. This is showing more about it. Sorry about that.
Click on the right atrium.
So that's showing that. Then we go to the next one. It talks about it even further.
The second phase of the cardiac cycle is ventricular.
Click the ventricles, and you can see the AV valve close. Watch it right here. Bam, closes up. Now this is a good part that talks about the valves.
Pressure forces the semilunar valves open. Blood is then ejected from the heart into the pulmonary trunk and aorta.
Bam.
Click the pulmonary semilunar valve to see it open and to see blood leave the heart.
Nice how it talks about, it shows two lungs there. The great thing about this is that as I was studying the cardiac cycle, I was, repetitively learning the system and where the blood was going to, how it was coming in and everything, which was a good help. I'm going to let this one talk for a second because it explains everything and it really gives an in-depth explanation of things, and I'm going to be quiet while this talks because this is very important stuff right here.
In the third phase of the cardiac cycle, isovolumetric relaxation, the ventricles relax and ventricular pressure drops. Blood in the aorta and pulmonary trunk backflows toward the heart, closing the semilunar valves. The ventricles are totally closed off again in this isovolumetric relaxation phase. Click the ventricles to return to diastole.
Watch the valves, how they pump close. And the green fluid in here is supposed to represent, it's a dye to see the blood. So you can see how the backflow, how it's suctioning back in